How's it going, everybody? It's Riley's Redzone here, back with another weekly NFL video. And in today's video, I will be predicting each Week 15 NFL games. So, a lot has already happened this week. There are already 4 games that have concluded at the time of this recording. And those would be the Thursday night game, which I picked the Niners, and it did go well. They did win that game. And then we had 3 the day I'm recording this on Saturday. We've had 3 games, all of which were entertaining for various reasons. Starting with the Vikings, which I did pick over the Colts, but not in the fashion that it ended up happening. This game was insane. I mean, I literally today was it was 30-0. It was at halftime, and then it ended up 33-0. I ended up playing outside for a couple of hours. I walk back inside, and it is an 8-point game, and the Vikings end up getting the win. So we get the pick right, but the largest comeback in NFL history ends up happening this week, which is insane. That is a game that will never be forgotten, as right now that is a record-breaking game. And now after that, unfortunately, we do take 2 L's. I did say in the tweet, which all 4 of those games were picked on Twitter, so if you didn't already follow the Twitter at Rally Redzone, I predicted that I thought at least one upset would occur this week between the 4 games, and I was correct in that. I just didn't pick it right. It ended up being the Browns pulling off an upset over the Ravens instead of, I thought it was maybe going to be the Dolphins over the Bills, which the Dolphins actually kept it very close with the Bills, and the Ravens kept it relatively close. I believe they ended up, only losing by a possession or 2, but the Ravens really couldn't get anything going offensively. For some reason, I mean, I know they have Lamar out, but they won't run the ball. For some reason, I was looking at just kind of what the consensus was there, and it seems that that Ravens fans are not super happy with the play calling. As the backs are solid. They were averaging very solid numbers per carry. They just weren't giving them the ball. And I like Tyler Huntley a lot. I even started him, unfortunately, and I believe in at least one league this week. I like him. I liked him coming out of Utah as a backup to Lamar. But unfortunately, I don't think you should be giving him the ball that many times when you do have so many talented backs that are doing very well. And then, the Dolphins actually performed pretty well in the cold in Buffalo. They just couldn't quite get it done. But I think that they gave it effort there. Unfortunately, though, that's 2 picks wrong for kind of one upset not happening. So now is where I was able to get feedback today from Andrew, which you may know from the Grocery Game series if you are a longtime viewer. I have him picking this week. I believe the next few weeks I'm going to have some Grocery Games contestants kind of be the pickers to close it out this season. But for Andrew, this first game, which actually ended up being the last game I kind of talked to him about, I threw this one out first, and for both of us, it took a minute because this might be this game. I think is going to be very boring potentially in the fact that it's 2 teams, because we were kind of looking at it, and it's like the Falcons and Saints, 2 teams that they haven't won since I believe it was week 11, and both were wins against not necessarily great teams. And so what that really means is just they're 2 teams that are, I believe, not necessarily mathematically eliminated, but like pretty much out of the playoff race. And the Saints don't even have a draft pick to look forward to. I really don't know what's going on with their QB situation still. And same with the Falcons. They're going to go to Desmond Ridder, and, we'll see how that kind of goes. The Marcus Mariota experiment is over. This game has exactly what Andrew does here. It has tie written all over it. I mean, it's 2 teams it's a game between 2 teams that you don't think deserve to win this game. And so Andrew ends up doing a first ever, today we had the largest comeback ever. This is a first in picks history. He is going to predict a tie in this game. And I came up with the deal with him. If this game does end in a tie, I am going to give him 4 points, as if he got 4 games correct. Maybe I'll go 3, but I think 4 is an accurate statement. If you can predict a tie and it happens, I think we give him 4 points. So I'm going to go with the Falcons for my personal reasons. I don't know why the Saints are necessarily favored. I know that, the Falcons will be going with the rookie quarterback here, but Ritter's ready to go. I think that that's a good move for them to go offensively. So I'm going to go with them there. They are the underdog. Once again, a game between two teams that I'm not necessarily super excited to watch, but I'm going to go with the Falcons in that one. Andrew goes with a tie. Next one, we kind of originally were maybe thinking Steelers, but we ended up both going with the Panthers. As Andrew kind of mentioned, they won their last few, and last I believe it was 3 out of 4. They are still putting up some points offensively. Sam Darnold is actually doing better, at least for them, what Baker was. Baker did well for the Rams last week, but like for the Panthers, Sam Darnold is doing a little bit better there. And now we both go with that choice. It's interesting because I'd say the Panthers are actually still not out of playoff contention. So I believe they're still kind of in it, and so let's see what happens. We're both thinking they keep the momentum going and keep it alive a little bit longer. Now the next 2 games I'm gonna kind of joint together, maybe even next 3. Well, for sure the next 2, as 2 teams that you really can't pick against the Eagles or the Chiefs right now, and so we both are going with those. They're playing subpar teams, and so you just got to go with the safe choice. It could happen, an upset could happen. Texans almost pulled off an upset last week, but for now, you just got to play it safe. We got to pick the Eagles, they're on a roll, and you got to play the Chiefs, who are also on a roll. And now the next game, the Cowboys-Jags, the Cowboys almost get upset, and because of that, and the Jags have been on a roll. They beat the Titans, but I'm shocked to see that the Cowboys are only favored by about 3 points. That's very interesting to me. I'm going to go with the Cowboys as well as Andrew is there. I think that the Jags have actually shown up a little bit offensively, which is very interesting. They are making games interesting. Trevor Lawrence is playing like a solid quarterback, but I have to go with the Cowboys to keep it safe there on that one. But now I'm going to start taking some risks. This right side of the board, for me, is very interesting. Lions and Jets. I completely agree with where Andrew's going here. He's taken the Lions, and the Lions have been on fire the last few weeks. They've been playing like one of the best teams in football, but I think that at some point the streak will break, and so I'm going to go with the Jets in Mike White, who I believe is going to be ready to go. So I'm going to go with Mike White there. I think that they need a bounce back win, and I think that Jets might be able to get it. Now, I will say this, the Lions, once again, have been playing like one of the best teams in football, and so I would not be surprised at all to see them win that. Now, I was shocked to see I was going to kind of have the Jets as an upset pick here based on how well the Lions are doing. Now, I don't know how the Lions somehow were favorites against the Vikings last week, even though they did win. And then underdogs against the Jets. I mean, I don't understand how they would be. I think I was thinking the Lions would be the favorite again this week, but they're not. So I'm going to go with the Jets, though. But this could really go a number of directions. But I'm going to go with the Jets. Now, we're both going Broncos here, which is interesting because if Kyler was not hurt and Russ was, I'd for sure go with the Cards. But we have 2 teams with backup quarterbacks, and when it comes down to that, I'm going to trust the team with the better defense, which in my opinion is the Denver Broncos. I think they have one of the best defenses in the league, and so I'm going to go with the Broncos. This is, I think, going to be a low-scoring game offensively, but I think that the Broncos defense will show up, and Andrew thinks the same. Now, we're also both going the Patriots, which I had to kind of cover up the logo a bit, but this is an underdog pick for both of us. The Patriots are +1 on the spread, so technically not the favorite, even though I'm shocked the Raiders would be a favorite after losing in that fashion to the Rams last week. From what I found, they still are somehow favored over the Patriots, but I'm going to go with the Patriots there. I think that they'll be fine. And they'll perform offensively. I just can kind of trust them more than I can the Raiders. Now, this next game is 2 teams that, at their best, I think are really good offensively. They both have some of the best running backs in the league. But the Titans just kind of, did terrible last week. And the Chargers, I did end up picking the win, and they did over the Dolphins. And so I'm going to go with them again. I just think they're on a roll offensively. I think they're going to make their way into the playoffs just because I really think that if they can get in, they'll be a sneaky team. So I'm going to go with the Chargers there. And so is Andrew. But this next game, I'm taking an absolute risk here. I was thinking Bengals all the way, but I said, you know what? Let's take a risk. I think Tom Brady is better after bouncing back. Last week was an abysmal performance against Brock Purdy, but I really think that Tom is good at bouncing back. And this is hard because I'll say this, like, the Bengals have been one of the best teams over the last few weeks, and it reminds me of what they did last year. They're building momentum going into the playoffs, which is what you want to do. But I'm going to go with the Bucs just because I think a bounce back will need to happen. If they don't, the NFC South is officially wide open between a poor team, whoever gets in at that point. But I think that the Bucs could actually pull off this win, which would be huge, a huge upset. So this is very risky, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Bucs, which is once again insanely risky, but I'm going to go ahead and go with it. Now the Giants and the Commanders, we were trying to figure out. I was going to pick whoever lost the game last time, but of course these two tied. I normally like to kind of split division games, but these two tied. So, it's Sunday Night Football. It is at the Commanders, so that's the direction me and Andrew are going to go. But it's so interesting that the last game these two played, well, at least for the Commanders, the last game the Commanders played was their last game was against the Giants, and they tied. So they come back here looking for revenge, and I think they're going to get it at home. I'm going to go with the Commanders. I really give credit to what the Giants have been doing, and I do think they have a lot of firepower offensively, but for whatever reason, they have been pretty disappointing over the last few weeks. They've kind of hit a cliff, and then they're going down this peak of the mountain right now. And so they need to bounce back, and I think at some point they will. I still think they could be decent in the playoffs, but right now I'm going to go with the Commanders to stick on the roll. And then the Packers and Rams, I will say this, unbelievable performance last week from Baker Mayfield, but I still think the Packers have a shot. I mean, I can't count them out at any point as a person who's watched, him tear apart my team for years. I can confirm that Aaron Rodgers can still light up the scoreboard, and I think that at his best, I know he's not been great this year, but I'm going to take the Packers. I really like what the Rams did with Baker. I have to say I'm very shocked at the spread of this game. The Packers are favored by like a whole touchdown, and as someone who's going to pick them, I don't know if I agree with that for sure, but I am going to take the Packers, and so is Andrew. So as we were kind of just talking about the games today, me and Andrew had really similar ideas on how the games are going to go, and for that reason, I have to take a few risks. And so the two games, I guess, to really determine what's going to kind of happen here is the Lions-Jets game, and then the Bucs-Bengals are kind of the two main ones we disagreed with, I guess. But at the same time, it almost makes sense to go with what Andrew's doing. So with that being said, I really appreciate you watching this video. This upcoming week, I'm going to hopefully be able to get a lot of stuff out. I am officially on Christmas break, and so I will finally have some more time to make some videos, and so I'm very excited for that. So looking forward to what is coming up next for the channel. Stay tuned. We're going to have some new backgrounds and some videos. It's going to be very entertaining. So I greatly appreciate you watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.